Tonight's coverage of the IHSA Boys Class AA Baseball Championship is proudly presented by Country Companies Insurance. When it matters most, the country's behind you. And by Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi. We welcome you to Elfstrom Stadium in Geneva for the Class AA Boys Baseball Championship game. Tonight, Lockport will take on Schaumburg for the final championship to be awarded in this 1996-97 academic year. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jim Blaney, and these two teams have done it with pitching so far here in Geneva. Neither team has been scored on so far in this tournament. And for more on the pitching, we turn to a former Major League pitcher, Dave Otto, who also played his high school ball at Elk Grove High School. Dave, we've seen outstanding pitching by these teams. But the thing is, usually in high school baseball, you have one or two good pitchers, and then that's about it. Both these teams are deep in their pitching staffs.
Jim, there's a reason why they got this far, and that's exactly correct. They've got deep pitching staffs. Paul Groot is going with Mark Belosek tonight. Threw 5 innings earlier in the day, 51 pitches, but he feels good. He's going for Schaumburg tonight.
And what about Sam Shaw?
Sam Shaw's a lefty. He has not pitched in the quarterfinals or the semifinals, so he is fresh. Look for him to throw a lot of changeups tonight. Outstanding left-handed changeup.
But obviously a pitcher can't win a game all by himself. He has to have a little bit of run support. Lockport is a little bit better balanced, I think, offensively. They got more guys who can deliver big hits.
Right, you got a guy, Jeff Blazing. He's going to the University of Nebraska next year. Good right fielder. Actually threw a no-hitter yesterday. Good hitter. And then you've got Scott Lesniak for Lockport also. 9 home runs, 10 is the school record, so he's going for that tonight.
And Schaumburg's a little different story because it really begins all for them in the leadoff spot, oddly enough. Tim Chambers, maybe one of the best leadoff men in the state.
You know, Jim, seeing this guy play for these two days, he is outstanding. He is a gamer out there. He's one of 3 captains for the Saxons, and he needs to get on base to make things happen for the Saxons tonight. One
more state title to go in this academic year. We'll crown one more champion tonight as Schaumburg takes on Lockport for the Boys AA Baseball Championship. We'll have the rest of the starting lineups coming up after this timeout. And welcome back to Elfstrom Stadium in Geneva. This is the Class AA Boys Baseball Championship for 1997. Schaumburg taking on Lockport. And for the starting lineups in tonight's game, let's go to the PA announcer, Kevin Gannon.
And now, let's meet the starting lineups, players, and coaches from both teams for tonight's championship game. First, the visiting team, the Porters of Lockport, who enter the game with a season record of 36 wins and 5 losses. Please meet Coach Jim Hall, who has a career record of 181 wins and 64 losses for a career of 7 years. Assistant coaches for the Porters, Coach Ken Dobson and Coach Butch Markells. Non-starters for the Porters. Number 7, Steve Rowe. Number 11, Chris Kopriva. Number 9, Brian McDonald. Number 10, Brian Murphy. Number 16, Kevin Meisenbach. Number 17, Eric Blazer. Number 20, Pete Domenico. Number 27, Jim Staniswski. Number 5, Mike Serafini. And number 8, Justin Ford. Starting lineup for the Porters. Leading off, playing left field, number 19, Greg Blazing. Shortstop, number 15, Ken Tondini. Right fielder, number 24, Jeff Blazing. Playing first base, number 28, Vince Serafini. Center fielder, number 12, Scott Lesniak. Pitcher, number 13, Tom Shaw. DHing for Mr. Shaw, number 21, Jeff Stanek. Third baseman, number 22, Todd Walters. Catcher, number 26, Matt Serafini. And second baseman, number 23, Dave Simmons. For the home team, the Saxons of Schaumburg High School, who enter the game with a record of 31 wins and 5 losses. Please meet Coach Paul Groot, who has a career record of 277 wins and 128 losses for a career of 13 years. Please meet Assistant Coach Tom Mueller. Assistant Coach Todd Metter. The non-starters for the Saxons. Number 1, Jim Zito. Number 5, Kevin Hahn. Number 7, Tom Owens. Number 9, Jeff Schupa. Number 11, Wally Brownlee. Number 13, Russ Sellinger. Number 17, Antoine McDaniel. Number 18, Tony Villafane. Number 21, Kevin Troe. Number 22, Steve Schrant. Starting lineup for Schaumburg. Leading off, playing second base, number 8, Tim Chambers. Center fielder, number 19, John Komacki. Right fielder, number 3, Paul Ruhr. Third baseman, number 10, Brian Wojnarowski. First baseman, number 15, Mike Wheel. The DH, number 2, T.J. Nall. Catcher, number 12, Mike Nall. Pitcher, number 20, Mark Balasik. Shortstop, number 14, Joshua Dryden. And left fielder, number 4, Kevin Gleason. Ladies and gentlemen,
these young gentlemen all vying for the same thing, the state championship trophy in AA baseball. We'll be back with the start of the game coming up right after this timeout. As the home team, the Schaumburg Saxons taking the field here at Elfstrom Stadium as we get ready for the Class AA championship game. Let's take a look at the batting order once again for Lockport. And the way they'll line up in the top of the first inning, Greg Blazing is going to lead off. He's the left fielder. Jeff Blazing, his brother, bats third. He's put up some incredible offensive numbers this year, batting .457 on the season. And then look at the rest of the 400 hitters. Serafini, Lesniak, Stanek, all hitting over 400. It's a very tough Lockport lineup. Now, starting in the game tonight for the Schaumburg Saxons, pitcher Mark Belozic. 2.35 ERA so far this season, 4-1 on the year. He's thrown just a hair under 45 innings so far this season. It's going to be his job to hold him tight during the early stages of the game. And he's pitched in 13 games so far this year. The defense for Schaumburg behind Belozic will line up like this. Gleason, Komaki, and Ruhr will line up in the outfield left to right. The infield of Wotanowski, Joshua Dryden, Tim Chambers, and Mike Wheel over at first. And Wheel will be the designated sitter. He will not hit in the lineup tonight. And the catcher is Mike Null, and of course Belozic is on the mound. The weather is absolutely dead solid perfect. It can't get any better than this. 70 degrees, the humidity is low, the wind is just a breeze, and it's expected to stay exactly this way the rest of the game. The umpires for tonight's game line up like this. Charles Graber is behind the plate. Now, he's from Naperville, and he wanted to say hello to his 9-year-old daughter who is having her birthday today. Unfortunately, she's not spending it at home. She's playing a soccer tournament in Springfield, and Kristen, your dad can't be there, but he's a little busy, but he sends all his love, and he hopes you did well in the soccer tournament today. Greg Blazing will come to the plate to start things off for Lockport. Greg Blazing hitting .317 on the year. Has scored 40 runs this year, which, Dave, I guess is exactly what you want out of your leadoff hitter.
Get on base. Interesting with Paul Groot and Belozic. Got to keep an eye on his arm. Make sure he's okay. Throwing 51 pitches earlier in the day. It's difficult to do to come back in the same night and throw. And
Belozic high with his opening pitch of the game, so Blazing already ahead in the count. And that one a little low and outside, so Greg Blazing off to a great at bat, and he hasn't even lifted the bat off his shoulder yet as he's ahead 2-0. Outfield shaded just a little bit toward the left field line. That one right over at the letters for a strike. And certainly you would have to expect that Blazing was taking all the way on that one, even on 2-0.
I like the strike zone, Jim. That was up there.
It's the way it ought to be. Yeah, I knew you'd like it being a pitcher. Here comes the 2-1. Blazing took a cut at it and fouls it back, and now Belozic has even the count at 2-2.
Just looking at the first couple pitches here, Jim, it looks like he is down in the zone, which is important because once he gets up in the zone, he can get into trouble.
Here comes the 2-2. Got him with the bender, and one away for Lockport in the top half of the first.
If you have a good bender at this level, you're going to get some outs, and this is just locked them up right there.
And not only that, Dave, he got it to move to the outside as well, which really crossed up Blazing.
No chance.
So that brings Ken Tondini to the plate. Ken Tondini hitting .378 this year. And opening pitch of Tondini outside, 1-0.
Is anybody below 300?
Dave Simmons at the very back of the bus is about the only one. The 1-0 pitch. And that one in the dirt, short hops the plate. So just like with Greg Blazing, the first hitter, Mark Belozic has gotten behind Ken Tondini 2-0. He was able to battle back and get Greg Blazing on 3 consecutive strikes. 2-0 pitch right down the heart of the plate, strike. And again, Tondini looked like he had no intention of swinging at a 2-0 pitch, which I like to see. Make him throw you one strike. 2-1 is high, so now Tondini has worked the count in his favor, and Belozic on 3-1 is going to have to come over with something right over the plate. Although I guess we'll see how confident he is in the bender, Dave. for ball 4, and Ken Tondini becomes the first base runner in the game. And now that brings up the big stick for Lockport, Jeff Blazing.
This guy can flat out hit, going to University of Nebraska next year, Jim. And he threw a no-no yesterday.
He's at a pretty good tournament, right? Going to be throwing in the Big 12, although when you threw there it was the Big 8.
That's right.
Actually, the Big 7 was Colorado did a baseball
That's
team.
Right.
Blazing, the number 3 hitter. Runner on first, 1 out. We're in the top of the first. And Belosic decides to go over to first base just to keep Ken Tondini honest.
Well, he's got a big lead over there. Got to keep an eye out on him because he can run.
40 runs driven in for Jeff Blazing so far this year. And again, the move over to first, and Wheel did a good job of keeping the ball from skidding down the right field line and allowing Tondini to go to second base.
Most of these pitches are called from the dugout, as you see the catcher right there looking into the dugout, and they'll call a play, whether it be a pickoff or call the particular pitch.
Jeff Blazing, that's the first pitch he's seen thrown his way, and high and in the outside corner for a strike. So for the first time after a first pitch, Belosic is ahead of a hitter. The 0-1 to Blazing. That one high as well and swung through by Blazing. And you saw him patting himself in the head as the ball went by, thinking, why in the world did you swing at that?
You know, you throw that pitch right there, and then you're going to come back. And pitchers always think lower and slower. So he may throw another breaking ball. Now he's going to go up and in right here. Put him off the plate.
Blazing in the hole, 0-2, and Blazing was right on top of that one, but fouled it off down the right field line.
0-2, you've got to make sure you get that ball in. Sometimes you're a little tentative, afraid of hitting the guy, but you've got to get it in there for effect. And you get him off the plate, and then you throw the hammer low and away.
And I think, Dave, it's become apparent that the hitters and the pitchers have quickly figured out that it's going to be a high strike tonight, and so the hitters have to be protective, and it allows the pitchers to be a little more aggressive. We have seen so far Belosic be up in the strike zone. 0-2. And that one high in the outside corner, and going down looking is Jeff Blazing. So the Blazing brothers have both gone down due to strikeouts here in the top of the first inning, 2 away.
JB, I like a big zone because it forces guys to hit. I know I'm a pitcher, but this pitch is right on the outside corner. Good pitch.
A little bit different than you're used to seeing in Major League Baseball. Vince Serafini, the cleanup hitter, comes to the plate, hitting .483, 37 runs driven in. He has a man on first, 2 away. Breaking ball in for strike 1. And after falling behind the first 2 hitters, all of a sudden Belosic has got it working.
He's getting the feel of the breaking ball right now. That's so important when you get out there, get out of the gate with your breaking ball.
Throw over to first, and Tondini back in there. And one thing to keep in mind, Dave, we'll have to ask you about this as a pitcher. When you're standing in the sunshine, the hitter's in the shade, is that when you want to go to the breaking ball, but they can't pick it up as quickly?
Absolutely. Anytime it's going from sun to shadow, it's tough to pick up rotation.
0-1 pitch outside. We're even up at 1 apiece. 2 out, man on first. Lockport hitting in the top of the first inning.
You know, it's also no fun pitching with the sun in your eyes like that because somebody hit a laser back at you and you can't see it.
So it works both ways.
Yeah.
And again, the move over to first. Tondini back in time.
Just chuck and duck. Especially with these aluminum bats, the ball just jumps.
1-1 pitch. And that one is high and outside, so Serafini ahead in the count now, 2-1.
See, Paul Groot or Tom Mueller will call all the pitches from the dugout. And then they can also call a pitch out or a pickoff move from there also.
And the pickoff move is called for.
And that is where the art of stealing signs comes in. There's people in the big leagues and minor league ball trying to figure out what that manager is putting on.
2-1 with 2 out. Serafini hits it high and into right field, into the sun field. Ruhr fighting off the sun, getting under the ball, and has it to retire the side. So in the top half of the first inning, no runs, no hit, 1 left on. Schaumburg will get their first turn at bat when we come back after this timeout. Here's the Schaumburg Saxons batting order presented to you by Country Companies. Tim Chambers batting .439 will lead off, and as we talked about in the open, he's the table setter. He's the guy who gets everything going for the Schaumburg Saxons. Pitching tonight for Lockport will be Sam Shaw, 5-2 on the season. He's thrown 50 2/3 innings. His ERA checks in at 3.87. And you might see a lot of pitching changes tonight because it's the last game of the year. Everybody better have an arm ready to go for at least a couple of innings. Here's how the Lockport defense lines up for Coach Jim Hall. Greg Blazing and Jeff Blazing are the corners in the outfield, with Scott Lesniak playing center. The infield, Walters, Tondini, Simmons, and Vince Serafini over at first base. Matt Serafini is the catcher behind the plate, and Shaw will be the pitcher tonight.
You know, Lesniak out in center field has got to cover some ground tonight because Jeff Blazing has got a bad hammy out in right field and cannot run that much. So Lesniak better get on his horse tonight.
He'll have to play like Ken Urchel. I'll explain who Ken Urchel is in a moment. And that pitch high and inside. Ken Urchel was the center fielder on my Little League team. And our coach, Ken, could cover the whole outfield. So he put two guys who couldn't play at all left and right and told Urchel go get everything. And he usually did, too. The 1-0 pitch high, but swung through by Chambers, so that evens the count at 1-1.
Sam Shaw has got one of the best changeups I have seen at the high school level. He is going to use it. He's not afraid to throw it. 2-0, 3-1, outstanding changeup.
Hit right back up the middle, and we have our first base hit of the game. So you see Tim Chambers do what he's done so well all season long, and that is get on base and get things going, at least in this case, possibly for the Saxons.
You know, just when I said he had a good changeup, he throws it up in the zone, and Tim Chambers rakes it to center field. Good piece of hit, and State kept his hands back.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Drove it up the middle.
John Kamaki, the center fielder, will now come to the plate. And as Dave certainly can tell you, when we put that leadoff guy on, everything changes, because for one thing now, working out of the stretch. First baseman and third baseman come in. Todd Walters looks to second, is going to try and get Chambers at second, and he does. So a good play by Todd Walters. The initial play and the reaction play would be just to go to first and get the sure out, but he looked over at second, saw he had a chance, and cut down the lead man. Boy,
outstanding play. And they were crashing on this play. And Todd Walters does a good job looking at second base and firing a strike over the second base.
Kamaki reaches on the fielder's choice, so it's one out and a man on first now for Schaumburg. Paul Ruhr, the right fielder, steps in now. And first pitch a strike. Ruhr hitting .407 on the year. 27 runs driven in.
This guy's a prospect. He's only a junior. Next year, if he has a good year, he's going to go Division I somewhere.
The 0-1 pitch. And Ruhr was being defensive because the steal was on. The throw down to second, not in time. So Kamaki, on somewhat of a missed sign, it appears, ends up stealing second base anyway.
Kamaki showed good instincts here. Just a breaking ball in the dirt, but Kamaki was off and running. He gets into second base just barely. Good base running right there. Good anticipation.
Kamaki took about 2 steps towards second base, held up, and then went anyway. That pitch high and inside, so now the count goes to 1-2. Runner on second in the person of John Kamaki. And Ruhr with an opportunity to drive in a run, although he's behind in the count. Pitch on the outside corner for a strike, and he's gone. So now 2 down for Schaumburg.
Now this is a perfect changeup, blowing away. Great arm speed, great follow through. He sold the changeup there, made it look like a fastball, and just pulled the string.
So 2 down. Ruhr may not have liked the call, but he's out nonetheless.
Oh, that was a strike.
Runner on second, 2 out. Brian Wodonowski stepping in, breaking balls in there for a strike.
JB, that is a nose-to-toes breaking ball.
You know what it looked like? It looked like the pitches Jimmy Key was throwing last Sunday at Comiskey Park.
That may be one of the biggest breaking balls I've seen.
Wojciechowski lets that one go by, strike 2, so he's behind 0-2.
The problem with the big breaking ball, Jim, though, is it's tough to throw for strikes.
And the thing is if the hitters start timing it, then you're in real trouble.
That's when you chuck and duck.
2 out, no score, runner on second, and Wojciechowski in a hole 0-2. And he fought that one off. Looked like he might have been a little fooled on it, stayed with it, and stayed alive.
Emergency hack. Good piece of hitting right there. I'll tell you what, you throw a good pitch and some hitter with an emergency hack fouls it off. That hurts you as a pitcher.
Well, we've seen that twice now out of the Schaumburg hitters in this inning, where they were pretty well fooled on a pitch, but had enough hand-eye coordination to stay alive. Wojciechowski will take that one high, 1-2. Kamaki's on second, reached on a fielder's choice, and then stole second. And hoping to be brought in. A base hit would do it. And this time Shaw decides to step off and reset everybody. You know what I like about this, though, Dave? A start time like now, it looks like the College World Series out here, doesn't it? Those late games in Omaha. And that one's hit down the first base line. Vince Serafini with a great job of making a play, coming up with the baseball, and retires Wojciechowski unassisted for the 3rd out of the inning. 1 hit in the inning, no runs pushed across by Schaumburg, no score at the end of 1. Back at Elfstrom, both pitchers have gotten their work done in the first. We now go to the second inning. Lesniak, Stanek, and Walters will be the hitters for Lockport, the top half of the second inning. And Lesniak batting .442 on the season. Another member of the 400 club for the Porters. Belozic walked 1 in the first inning, but it didn't cost him. Opening pitch of the second, hit up the middle to second base. Chambers comes up with it, has plenty of time, goes to first. 1 away.
There is nothing better than 1 pitch, 1 out. Beautiful.
What was it in the game this morning? Belozic threw 51 pitches?
51 pitches.
Amazing.
5 innings. I throw that in an inning.
Jeff Stanek, the DH, now stands in. 1 away here in the top of the second. He goes hacking after the first pitch as well and fouls it off behind the plate.
It really is a game of firsts. First out of the inning, get the first pitch over for a strike. Game of firsts.
It's all about being ahead, and that's one of the things that slowed down Major League Baseball. They've made it so hard for the pitchers to get ahead in the count. That one low, and it'll even the count at 1-1.
You know what also I like about high school rules is you can't step out of the batter's box. You have to stay in the batter's box. In the big leagues and the minor leagues, you have guys walking all over the place.
Mailing letters, cooking lunch. And that one low again, but high enough for a strike. So 1-2 now as Stanek gets behind.
Just a great pitch down and in. Tails back out over the plate and freezes the left-handed hitter.
So let's see what Belozic chooses to do here. And just throws one high and outside. The breaking ball got away, Dave? Is that what
that was? Just a show me pitch. I think you want to set it up for something right here. He may go back inside here.
2-2.
The hammer.
And there was the hammer. Stanek stayed with it and fouled it off. You know what? Stanek knew it was coming the whole way, too. He was ready for that. Did a good job of fighting it off. Stanek will get another look at a 2-2 pitch. And that one high, and they'll go to third base, and the third base umpire says, yes, indeedy. Strikeout number 3 in the game so far for Belozic, and Stanek is retired.
Boy, Mark did a good job of changing speeds. Threw a curveball the previous pitch, changed levels right there and went upstairs.
That is so hard to lay off.
Oh.
It looks so hittable. There's just no way to catch up to it that high in your face. Todd Walters standing in now for the Porters.
Looks like he's got some hair on his fastball.
And that one outside, 0-1.
I don't know how he could. Threw 5 innings earlier in the day. I couldn't brush my teeth right now.
He only threw 51 pitches. He's just getting warmed up now. And that one inside, fought off to second. Chambers comes up with it, has to go over to first quickly because it looked like he had a hard time finding the handle on it, but goes over to first and gets the out. So Lockport retired 1-2-3 here in the top half of the second inning. We'll go to the bottom half, no score. We're still waiting to see which one of these teams will be the first one to give up a run this weekend here in Geneva. As we get ready to go to the bottom second. Do it for Schaumburg, TJ Nall, Mike Nall, and Mark Belozic. So he'll get a look at his opposite number, Sam Shaw, a little bit later on in the inning. Shaw was in a little bit of a jam in the first. He had a runner reach second base, but didn't allow him to come around and score. Gotta like a pitcher number 13, too. TJ Nall standing in, sends the first pitch towards second base, and one away. As Dave Simmons came up with the ball cleanly. Oh, we've seen a lot of people in the second inning now going up there hacking.
Well, I like pitchers that can throw first pitch breaking balls because that sets up the whole sequence. If you get ahead with the breaking ball, then you're sitting 0-1, and the hitter has no clue what you're going to throw then.
Mike Nall, the hitter. The catcher, 12 doubles on the season. So has an ability to find the gaps in the outfield. And that one over the top and low, so ball one.
Look for Mike Nall to toe the slab later on in this game. Threw a no-no yesterday. Says he feels good, so he may pitch later on in this game.
The 1-0 pitch, that's high, and now Mike Nall has worked the count in his favor to 2-0.
Mike Nall is sitting dead red right here, looking for a pitch in a particular location. Just wants to drive it.
Yep, wants to send it right into one of those gaps. The outfield playing pretty much straight away. The center fielder shaded over to the right, and that one high and outside, but called for a strike. You can see the center fielder just shaded a hair to the right field side of second base. And that one dead down the middle. So now Shaw has evened up the count at 2-2. Where the pitchers just are getting room to work from the umpires because they're putting the strike zone where it ought to be. Outside corner, and he's gone looking. Mike Nall goes down after being ahead in the count, 2-0.
You know, it looks like Sam Shaw is going away, away, away. So hitters have got to start diving out over the plate to get that pitch away.
Tell you what, he threw it right into the catcher's mitt. That's pretty good pitching there. Mark Belozic, the pitcher, is the hitter, and he gets a look at a little something less than a fastball, I guess you should call that one. Wow. Belozic hitting 3-0-2.
I think gravity's just taking effect on those curveballs.
0-1 the count. That one inside, but swung through for a strike, 0-2. It's Belozic. He's guessing right now, isn't he, Dave? And took a little bit off that one, but a little bit high. Curveball didn't quite get in there.
See, the second pitch from Sam Shaw was inside, and now he's probably going to, he shows in, but he's going to try and get him out away.
1-2 the count.
He's going in.
And he got him. Consecutive strikeouts to end the inning for Sam Shaw. He gets his opposite number, Mark Belozic. We are through two. No score in the AA title game. The pitchers are ruling this thing. The broadcast rights to tonight's state championship have been granted to Sports Channel by Intersport and Intersport by the Illinois High School Association. Any rebroadcast or reproduction of this event without the written consent of the Sports Channel, Intersport, and the IHSA is prohibited. We are also not responsible for any Macarena injuries. Top of the third inning. The Porter is looking to get on the board first. Matt Serafini, Dave Simmons, and then we go back to the top of the order for Greg Blazing. Mark Belozic gets the ball hit right back to him on the first pitch. So for the second inning in a row, one pitch, one out to start things off as Serafini is retired. And Mark Belozic, because he pitched this morning, is limited in the amount of innings he can pitch in this game tonight. So he knows he might as well go out there and chuck and get done quickly, because once he reaches 4 innings, that's going to be it.
Yeah, according to my calculations, you only get 9 innings in one day, and he threw 5 earlier in the day. And TJ Knoll is heating up in that bullpen just in case he runs into trouble earlier, and TJ will be in. But also Mike Knoll behind the plate. We'll see some action tonight.
Dave Simmons, the hitter, the second baseman. And that went in there for a strike. Not only have the pitchers dominated this game by striking people out, but there's only been 1 ball hit to the outfield so far in this game.
Keep the ball on the ground.
Kind of like football. Doug Buffon would like that. That one in the outside corner for a strike, 1-2. The outfield shallow and shaded over toward right field.
You know, I've never seen a coach do such a good job of positioning his players. Paul Groot seems to have these fielders right where they should be.
On the outside corner again, another strikeout. That's the 4th strikeout of the game for Bolosic.
This just locks him up. Good breaking ball, good follow through, and a very nice strike zone. Hey, Jim, if you can get it there on a fly, it's a strike.
But the thing is they're being the call has been consistent. That one popped up down the first base line, and it will barely get into the seats before Wheel could make a play on it. He did a great job of running between the tarp and the house down there. You can't really see what that is.
It was a nice route.
Went over toward the rail and reached in, but couldn't quite make the play. Yeah, the doghouse. Jake, the what dog? Anyway.
You see it all in these minor league stadiums. They do a great job here at Kane County with promotions.
And the 0-1 pitch to Blazing is outside. Blazing struck out in the first inning. Of course, you've got some experience with unruly mascots in minor league stadiums. And that pitch hit into shallow center field. Komaki is coming on, but Tim Chambers calls off everybody in a very quick inning for Mark Bolosic. Only got 1 strikeout, though, in that inning. Retires the side. We're getting ready to go to the bottom of the 3rd. No score. Joshua Dryden will lead off for Schaumburg. Kevin Gleason will follow him, and then back to Tim Chambers at the top of the order. We're going to the bottom of the 3rd. No score in the game so far, and the pitchers have certainly been ruling the action in this game. That one high off of Sam Shaw, so 1-0 to count. Joshua Dryden hitting .337 on the season, takes that one and fouls it off, and that evens the count at 1-1. Now, we alluded to the mascot a little earlier. Dave, when you were playing in rookie ball, you arranged to take care of the mascot. Why don't you tell the story?
Well, we intercepted the mascot as he was running the bases between innings.
Ground ball to second base. Dave Simmons couldn't quite come up with it. Took a little funny hop on him. And Joshua Dryden is on base to start the bottom of the 3rd.
Big breaking ball, and Simmons did a good job of charging it, and it looked like it just took a bad hop, that last hop. Wasn't able to get it on the short hop, and just ate him up.
Dryden charged with an error. Kevin Gleason will come to the plate, but anyway, they tackled the mascot, and then the team piled on, right? He was racing your son and wasn't going to let the kid win.
Intercepted him, we tied him up and threw him on the dugout.
And there's a hit batsman, so now we're going to have runners on 1st and 2nd with nobody out, so the Porter's in a bit of a problem. And now, home plate umpire Chuck Graber is going to go down and talk to the 3rd base umpire, I would imagine, to see if the hitter made an effort to get out of the way.
JB, I think he may have attempted to bunt that. Get the brain trust together here. He squares around, and if he doesn't pull back, whoa, he made an attempt at that. I think he made an attempt because it was self-defense.
Yeah,
he wanted no part of it.
Jim Hall is certainly not in agreement with the call, but what Chuck Graber did is what an umpire should do. He went to the 3rd base umpire, he went to the 1st base umpire, and made sure the call was correct.
Again, he squares around, and as the ball's coming, that was just self-defense, but he may have made an attempt at that ball. Boy, if he bunts, he may have.
See, now Jim Hall wants the opinion of the second base umpire, and the ruling is the same all the way around the horn. So here's the situation. Dryden reached on an error. He advances to second base on the hit batsman, Kevin Gleason. So runners on first and second, nobody out, and now we go back to the top of the order to Tim Chambers, who has the only hit so far in this game. And a chance to drive in some runs. Here comes the pitch. Shaw inside, and ball one. Both runners back to first before an attempted throw came. 1-0 the count.
Jim, fundamentally, both teams are strong defensively as far as running bunt plays, pickoffs. They do a great job. Lockport throws all kinds of wrinkles.
Infielders in at the corners. Vince Serafini comes way up in case of a bunt. Instead, it's high, 2-0.
I don't care what type of bunt play you do, you've got to throw strikes in this situation and get ahead of the hitter.
As well as Chambers handles the bat, it certainly gives Paul Groot a lot of options. First and second, the count is 2-0, nobody out. Strike, 2-1. Sam Shaw, remember, was in a bit of a jam in the first inning, had a runner on second with one out, but was able to get out of the jam. Now he's got a bigger problem. First and second, nobody out. He's behind in the count, 2-1. That one high, 3-1.
He is looking for a pitch right in his wheelhouse right here, or else he is taking.
John Kamaki is on deck for the Saxons. Chambers takes high, bases loaded, nobody out. Still only one hit so far in the game. And very quickly, Jim Hall gets somebody up in the bullpen, and he's going to take a moment and visit Shaw on the mound.
We got action down there. Lockport pulled a play earlier today that was unbelievable. I've never seen it done before. They had the bases loaded. They're out in the field, and they threw a ball. They faked the throw down to third base. Catcher hung onto the ball, and the third baseman pretended like it was an overthrow, hoping that the runners would move along. Great play.
Jim Staniszewski is warming up in the bullpen for Lockport, and Shaw is going to stay in the game at least for now. And certainly one of the purposes of that meeting was to give Staniszewski a chance to warm up a little bit in the bullpen, because he jumped up in a big hurry.
And also for Sam Shaw to regroup the troops a little bit, give him a little rest, get him back in the zone.
Kamaki reached on a fielder's choice in the first and then stole second, but wasn't brought around. That pitch in the outside corner, strike one. Nobody out, the bases are loaded. Schaumburg trying to get some runs on the board first. If they can push across the run, they'll be the first team to do so here in Geneva against the Porters. And that one just a little bit high. Count it even at 1-1.
Kamaki's looking for something out over the plate, something to drive the other way.
One and one the count. Bases loaded, nobody out. No score with Schaumburg hitting here in the bottom of the third inning. That pitch driven to left field. Greg Blazing isn't going to get to it. He'll get to the corner. One run is in. Here comes a second run. The throw into third. It's 2-0 Saxons. A 2 RBI double for John Kamaki.
JB, I finally made a call. Kamaki got a pitch out over the plate and just drove it to left field. Great piece of hitting. Kept his hands back and just drove the ball anywhere. Got on top. The whole key on a high pitch like that is you've got to get on top.
Still nobody out. Paul Ruhr now the hitter. Runners on second and third. Brewer struck out in the first inning. Swung through that one, 0-1.
He aired it out.
So for the first time since they've been here in Geneva, the Porters know what it's like to be scored upon. It's amazing at this level of competition that you don't give up any runs in 2 games. And just all out in front of it was Brewer. It's 0-2.
That was a great pitch right there. The first pitch, Brewer tried to lift and separate on a fastball, and then Sam Shaw came back with a nice changeup.
That one through the gap between first and second because the infield was pulled in. And the ball gets away behind the plate. Here comes Komaki, and he'll score. So the bases end up getting cleaned off after the air, and ending up on second base is Brewer.
JB, that's what's impressed me about the Schaumburg Saxons up to this point. They go the other way with pitches. They take it where it's pitched, and they go the other way. Great job with Brewer in the hole. Just drives it to right field.
Jeff Blazing just couldn't come up with it. Looked like he hit the cutoff man, and the ball just squirted through. Well, they ran through the gamut of players to give the air to. We'll check on where they score the air because that's how the runners advance. In any event, Brian Wojnarowski steps in. He grounded out the first to end the first inning. Two 2-0 the count. Runner on second, nobody out. 4 runs already in for the Saxons. And Staniszewski working quickly in the bullpen to get ready. And it count now even at 2-2. Shaw having just a nightmare inning. 4 runs already in. And that one high, the count goes to 3-1.
Boy, look at those aluminum bats. Are those big? My, it's like an ironing board.
No, I still wouldn't have been able to hit with 3-1, and Shaw decides to step off. And that one in the dirt. Another walk. Runners on first and second. Still nobody out. TJ Nall coming to the plate.
This might be it, JB.
Yeah, it's. Boy, Sam Shaw just started out so great. And you know what? Dave, look what happened. He went through almost the entire first part of the order without running into a problem. We started seeing guys for a second time, and that's when the problem started. We'll take a break. 4-0. Schaumburg leading. Nobody out here in the bottom of the third. 4-0. Schaumburg leading here in the bottom of the third inning. So the pitching change for Lockport will bring Jim Staniszewski into the game. 1.57 ERA, 6-0 on the year. And in case you're wondering about the strikeouts to walks, 47 strikeouts, 25 walks.
Well, anytime you get a 2-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, you're doing something.
By the way, on the error that allowed John Komaki to score from third base, that error was given to the right fielder, Jeff Blazing. Nobody out for Schaumburg. Runners on first and second. That pitch a little bit low. 1-0 as TJ Nall goes up in the count.
Well, there's some brother combinations here. TJ Nall is a sophomore, Mike Nall a senior. And on Lockport, you got the Blazings and the Serafinis.
And that pitch driven hard into center field, but right at Scott Lesniak, goes to second, an attempt to double off Paul Ruhr, but he gets back in time. That thing just took off. It looked like it was going to drop in, but it just stayed on an even plane and never dropped down to the ground.
Well, anytime you hit a ball like that, it knuckles out there. And Lesniak did a good job of getting over there and cutting it off. And that's just great pitching right there. Anytime you give a line drive out, great pitching.
Mike Nall, the catcher, will now come to the plate. Still runners on first and second, but now one out as Staniszewski gets the first hitter. So is it good that he got the first hitter, or is it bad that that pitch was tagged? We will find out. Comes right down the middle and rings up a strike, 0-1. TJ now, or Mike now, excuse me, struck out in the second inning. And now is shaded over toward left field. Staniszewski will step off. And now we're ready to go. Here's the 0-1. That one down low. Good job of blocking the ball by Serafini. And an even better catch at third base by Todd Walters to keep it from going into left field. But the result is Ruhr moves up to third. Wodonowski moves up to second on what will be scored as a double steal.
Boy, Serafini did a great job of blocking this ball, but great base running by Ruhr to get over.
What a great catch.
Great block and just great hustle, anticipation, and gets over to third base. Good base running.
1-1, runners on second and third, and that pitch is going to be fouled off down the first base line, and that'll put the count at 1-2.
Boy, it's fun hitting with the bases, with the fielders in like this.
We saw that result in the 2 runs off of the throwing error. In a normal infield that would have been back, it would have probably been an out. Instead, it resulted in 2 runs being scored for the Saxons. And the down move, and they've got Ruhr off third base. Tried to slide underneath the tag, but Ruhr is out, and he appears to be hurt. Moving up to third on the play is Wodonowski. And Ruhr is slow getting up, but Staniszewski picked his man off third base and gets a big out.
JB, I can say that I have never seen that play. Jim Hall does a great job of running pickoff plays, and just a great pickoff move by Staniszewski.
Ruhr almost got around that tag. 2 out, runner on third, 1-2 the count. Ground ball to third base, scooped up by Walters. He'll go across the infield, and a nice pick at first base by Vince Serafini to retire the side. So even though Lockport gives up 4 runs in the bottom of the third inning, it could have been a lot worse. Lockport will try and get on the board themselves when we come back for the 4th inning. These guys are a long way from home, aren't they? Schaumburg leading Lockport 4-0. The Saxons get 4 runs in the bottom of the third inning. Mark Polosek looking in at Ken Tondini. He walked in the first inning. He is the only person to reach base so far for Lockport. And that pitch hit high into center field. Komaki on the move, comes under it, and makes the catch, 1 away. Polosek is dealing, huh?
You know what, JB, I've never seen a 3-pitch inning.
Well, when you only throw 51 in 5 innings, he had what, 7? He had a 7-pitch inning and an 8-pitch inning in the semifinal game earlier today. Jeff Blazing, the right fielder, now steps in. He struck out in the first. And he's down 0-1 here in the 4th. Well, this is what you want to do in a state championship game. Pitch your best. And Polosek has done that so far. Just missed outside.
When you're hanging like this, I mean, after throwing 51 pitches earlier in the day, it's easier to throw your breaking ball.
Why?
Just because your arm is tired and get it out there. With your fastball, you don't have that good juice, that good life on your fastball, but it's easier to throw your breaking ball because you grip it tight and you just pull down on it.
Blazing doing a fine imitation of one of my drives as of late. High and to the right. 1-2 the count, 1 out. Lockport trailing 4-0. Would like to just simply get a base runner. Blazing got a piece of that, put it into the dirt, still 1-2.
These two are great, Polosek and Mike Nall. They just flip-flop. Polosek catches and Mike Nall pitches also.
You ever catch?
Heck no.
The 1-2. Grounded to second base. Tim Chambers waits, scoops it up, 2 away.
You got to be a little crazy to put on the tools of ignorance.
10 hitters in a row retired by Mark Belozic. And none of them that he's faced in the entire game have a hit as of yet. But remember, he won't be able to go the distance because he pitched this morning. Vince Serafini, the first baseman, flew out to right field. He is the only person for Lockport to get the ball airborne so far in this game. And that one's high. Two away, 1-0 the count. And that one just a little bit low.
And all Vince Serafini did earlier today was throw a shutout. Good left-handed pitcher.
And TJ Nall continues to warm up for Schaumburg.
He's throwing a ball game down there.
Well, he figured Belozic pitched this morning, so I'll get down there and throw 51 pitches too. 3-0 the count. Belozic puts it high for ball 4. So only the second base runner in the game for Lockport, and they are still without a hit. Scott Lesniak will come to the plate. And apparently that's about enough, because Paul Groot is going to come out to the mound, and Belozic, I would imagine, will be told, you gave us all you could, but we don't want any problems out here. We'll see if Groot indeed does pull him out.
JB, I don't think he's going to hook him here.
Yeah, the way he started out toward the mound looked like he was going to take him out, but now looks like he's going to leave him in.
You know, anytime the head coach starts talking to you, you know you're still in the game. When he sticks his hand out and he says, you're done, you're done.
So Belozic is going to stay in the game. Really, that's the first batter in the game he got behind in a hurry on, with the count went to 3-0 and ended up walking Vince Serafini on 4 straight pitches. But now Scott Lesniak comes in. He grounded out to second, back in the second inning. So Belozic stays in. And that pitch catches that outside corner for a strike.
I think Paul went out there and just told Mark, hey, listen, your arm is getting a little low. Get back on top and throw on a downward plane.
And that one hung for a second. Lesniak pops it up down the first base line, and would have been a very tough play for Mike Wheel. Had his back to the ball trying to run it down, and it didn't quite make it over into the stands, but a foul ball nonetheless. And so the count is 1-1.
I had a game. Mike Hargrove came out to take the ball from me. I said, Skip, I feel good. I feel good. I'm not tired. He goes, I know you're not tired, but the outfielders are tired.
See the catcher, Mike Nall, getting the signal from the dugout. 1-1, 2 out, runner on first base. That one high, 2-1. So all of a sudden, the pace of the game has slowed up a bit for Belozic. See Groot signaling what he wants. And that one driven into left field, so the first base hit of the game for the Porters comes from Scott Lesniak, and there's runners on first and second base with 2 out. You know, and you see the sun shining on Lesniak standing over there on first base. Wheel was shading his eyes as he guarded first base, which made you think that a pickoff throw might not be coming over there, because the chances are the first baseman's not going to be able to see it.
Yeah, there are times where the first baseman will tell the pitcher, listen, if you're going to throw it over, roll it over, because I can't see anything.
Jeff Stanek, the DH at the plate. He struck out in the second. Has a chance here to drive in some runs and get Lockport on the board. That pitch on the inside corner, strike 1.
I'm sure Paul Groot would like to nurse him along and get him through this inning and let TJ Nall start fresh next inning.
Yeah, you really don't want to come in with runners on first and second. Pitch to Stanek, grounds it towards short. Dryden with the drive, the ball got through. Serafini is going to come in and score. Lesniak in safe at third, and in safe at second base is Jeff Stanek. So the Porters have something working here with 2 outs in the top of the 4th inning.
Stanek did a nice job. This is a changeup, and the shortstop is way in the hole right here. You've got to pick up the side. I know it's difficult, but anticipate on a changeup that he's going to pull the ball up the middle. He gets in safely to third. You know, Joshua Dryden was way in the hole there on that particular play. When you throw a changeup like that, the guy's going to be out in front, and he's going to tend to hit it up the middle.
So it took 17 2/3 innings, but somebody finally got to the Saxons pitching for a run. Lockport trailing 4-1. Bad pitch by Todd Walters, hit toward third base. Wojnarowski comes up with the throw, and even though there was a head-first slide by Walters, Wojnarowski got his man, and the Saxons are out of the inning with only giving up 1 run. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Schaumburg leading at 4-1. Schaumburg leading Lockport 4-1 in the Class AA championship game. Mark Bolosic, the pitcher, is going to lead off for Schaumburg. Schaumburg put up all 4 of their runs in the 3rd. Bolosic got some nice defensive help from his friends to get out of a jam in the top of the 4th. And Bolosic waves at that pitch, strike 1.
What a gutsy performance up to this point for Bolosic.
And Staniszewski, not too bad either. Came in, faced 2 batters, got a pickoff, a line out, and a bouncer. Bolosic puts it into center field. The ball tailed just a little bit on John Kamaki. Made a nice play of staying with it and made what was actually somewhat of a difficult play look rather routine. 1 away. Joshua Dryden will come to the plate. He started everything in the bottom of the 4th inning when he reached on an error. Staniszewski came into a tough spot. There was nobody out when he came in, and there were 4 runs already in the 3rd inning, but he worked out of the jam.
He is throwing. He's got a nice loose arm, free and easy.
1-0 the count. Dryden looking like he wants to put the idea of a bunt in people's heads, and Wojnarowski, the 3rd baseman, is in on the infield grass. 2-0 the count. And Dryden takes a strike, 2-1. 4-1 Schaumburg in the bottom of the 4th inning, 1 away. Two-one pitch is low.
And if you can bunt and get that 3rd baseman in, all you got to do is just slap it that way to left field.
Outfielder shaded a little bit toward the left field line. Dryden takes the 3-1 and pounds it towards second base. Chambers came up with it cleanly, goes over to first, 2 away. It's looking like the infielders are having a little bit of a problem, Dave, because it doesn't appear that the ball is getting to them as quickly as they think it should.
You know, it's a completely different infield here. It's high grass, and the ball rolls very slow here, and you've got to play closer in to get guys.
Kevin Gleason took one for the team in the big inning, and now drives it into right field for a base hit.
Tell you what, though, this is a sweet infield.
Yes. We were out there walking around before the game, and you know what, Dave? It looks a lot like your lawn.
I had a good lawn for 1 year when I was with the Cubs because the grounds crew guys set me up with some sweet fertilizer.
What do they put on it to keep it green late in the year?
Paint.
No, it's not. Chambers takes a pitch, throw down to second, and that will be the end of the inning because Kevin Gleason cut down trying to steal. So the Saxons tossed out of the bases, and that will end the top of the 5th inning. Great throw from behind the plate by the catcher, Matt Serafini, to end the inning. Schaumburg leading Lockport 4-1. We go to the top of the 5th inning, and the battery hasn't changed. It's just that the positions they are playing has. Mike Nall, number 12, now the pitcher for Schaumburg. And Mark Bolosic, who was the pitcher in the previous 4 innings, is now behind the plate. Nall with an ERA just over 2. Bolosic, a good outing. 4 innings pitched, gave up 2 hits, just 1 run. But boy, was blowing people away in the early going.
Oh, that was a gutsy performance. And I think Paul Groot was afraid to pull the trigger with T.J. Nall, only a sophomore. And this guy is really the horse. And this is the guy that you want out there to try and nail this one down.
Matt Serafini will lead off for Lockport here in the top of the 5th inning. Serafini takes strike 1. Serafini grounded back to the pitcher in the 3rd inning. And Serafini will take low, 1-1.
You know, Mike threw 7 innings yesterday, and it looks like he's throwing the ball pretty good.
And Mike Nall attracting a lot of attention. And that one, swing and a miss, 1-2. Drafted by the Florida Marlins.
He's got a big decision ahead of him, Jim.
Yeah.
He's also a rocket scientist. He's got like a he got a 30 on his ACT, so I'm sure school is important to him. But
he's considering, if he does go to college, he's considering engineering or education. Been a starter for 3 years, one of the senior leaders on the Schaumburg team, and that one grounded up the middle by Serafini. He'll start off the inning with a base hit. So for the first time in this game, the Porters get their leadoff man on, and that will bring Dave Simmons to the plate.
Great piece of hitting, low and away, and he dove out over and got that ball. Good piece of hitting by Serafini. A heck of an attempt by Joshua Dryden.
So Dave, what are the factors in a young man's decision as to whether he's going to go out of high school and play professional baseball or whether he's going to go on to college?
You know, minor league ball is such a big adjustment, especially for high school kids. They'd have to throw a ton of money your way to go play professionally. I prefer college just because you get your education in the meantime, and you also get to play a good caliber of baseball. He's going to UIC, University of Illinois Chicago, and they have done a great job over there building up that program. So again, it would take an awful lot of money to sway Mike.
1-0 pitch, hammered down the right field line. It's going to go into foul territory, and what a catch in right field made by Jeff Blazing. Check that, Paul Ruhr of Schaumburg making the catch in right field.
Boy, he just got after that, got an outstanding jump, fastball away, and I'll tell you what, Ruhr, only a junior, he has got some tools. He can run out there, he's got a great arm, and this, just outstretched, great catch.
That's as nice as you're going to see. And Serafini had to quickly retreat back to first. He had done what he should, gone about halfway, and then started to retreat once he saw the ball was going to go foul, so it wasn't even close.
I wish they would let pitchers go out there and hug the guy, because when a guy makes a play like that, I just want to hug him.
Yeah, and that's like a freebie. And that pitch fouled off. The count is 0-1. Greg Blazing is the hitter. Struck out in the first, and he popped out to second base in the third.
Here's the changeup, and he's got a good one.
And that one pounded back to Nall, looks towards second, erases Domenico, throw to first, not in time. So the fielder's choice erases the lead runner, but now a runner on first and 2 away.
Good changeup, gets him out on his front foot, pounds it into the ground. And he does a good job here of looking at second base and getting it over there in time. Boy, that was an outstanding piece of base running right there to take him right out of the play.
That brings up Ken Tondini.
That looked like Albert Bell going into second base. I've never seen anybody take out a shortstop or second baseman like Albert Bell.
And a look over to first base. And Blazing gets back. 2 away. Lockport hitting the top of the 5th. They trail 4-1. Tondini walked on the first, flew out to center field, back in the 4th. That one's a little dribbled on the first base line. Now picks it up, tosses it over to first, and that retires the side. So Schaumburg will come back and hit in the bottom of the 5th. They've got a 4-1 lead. We remind you the Chicago Tribune is the official newspaper of the IHSA State Championship, so pick up the Chicago Tribune for complete coverage of Illinois high school sports. Tim Chambers leading off for Schaumburg here in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Saxons lead it 4-1.
And speaking of the IHSA, they have done a wonderful job in hosting this tournament.
Liner right to second base. Dave Simmons makes the play, 1 away.
Again, JB, good pitching right here. Tim Chambers does a great job of going the other way. He just hits a laser to Dave Simmons.
Well, Staniszewski is doing something that you like to see a pitcher do. He's letting his fielders help him out. He's not out there throwing a lot of pitches. Swing and a miss by John Kamaki. Kamaki reached on a fielder's choice in the 1st. He doubled in 2 runs in his last at bat in the 3rd. So many pitchers, especially at this level, think that you have to strike everybody out. And there's a strike by Staniszewski. He's ahead 0-2.
Now you keep the ball down and let your fielders work.
That's why Greg Maddox is so effective. That's why he pitches 2-hour games, too. 1-2 the count.
It helps because he can hit a net between the eyes from 60 feet away. He's got unbelievable control.
One and two, 1 out. And that one broke in on Kamaki, and he tried to fight it off, but no dice, and he goes down swinging.
Well, that was a good hammer. Look how he gets his arm out there and just pulls straight down. Great arm action.
Okay, now it's time for that old baseball adage. How many times have you seen it? Guy makes a great play in the field, then he comes up and hits in the next inning and becomes a hero. Paul Ruhr standing in, made that great catch in foul territory down the right field line in the top half of the 5th. Takes ball 1.
You know, Paul Ruhr, again, does such a great job of positioning guys. Ruhr was down the right field line and just got a great jump.
And that one hammered into center field. It's going to drop in for a base hit. So Paul Ruhr, his second hit of the game. 2 for 3, as a matter of fact.
Do you have statistics on how many times the guy gets a hit then?
You know what? It just, you know, you always see that in the highlights. You see a great defensive play by a guy, but usually it's driving in a run or hitting a home run. And certainly a single will do just nicely. 2 out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Brian Wotanowski, who made a nice play over at third base to end the beginning for Lockport, swung to try and help out the runner. And it's a stolen base for Paul Ruhr.
Well, they picked a good pitch to run on right there. Big, slow curveball, and Ruhr got an outstanding jump. Serafini got out and shoot pretty good, but that base was stolen on the pitcher.
So that eliminates the force. That's why the steal attempt was made. Plus, base hit now, and you can add another run, and you get up almost by more than 1 swing of the bat. That one low. 1-1. Wotanowski grounded out to first, back in the 1st inning, walked in the 3rd. Ruhr on second. That one inside. 2-1. Wotanowski concentrating on the signals coming in from third base.
Well, I like the way he stands in there.
rhythm broken a little bit by Staniszewski. So we're now ready to go. And that one outside, 3-1. TJ Null on deck for Schaumburg.
I don't think Staniszewski wants to give him anything good to hit right here. He's got an open base.
Right.
TJ Null up next.
And he certainly didn't give him anything to hit. Outside ball 4. So runners on first and second now with 2 out.
Boy, try saying that 10 times.
Staniszewski. That's the first walk of the game for Staniszewski. And now TJ Null, the DH, comes up. Grounded out to second in the second inning and lined out to center field in the third. As a matter of fact, he was the first hitter retired in the third, and Staniszewski has done all he's going to do in this game. Staniszewski will go to the dugout. The Porters will have a new pitcher when we come back. Schaumburg leading 4-1 at the bottom of the 5th. Two out here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Schaumburg leading Lockport 4-1. And Jeff Blazing has moved in from right field to pitch for the Porters. 11-2 record, ERA of under 1.5. And he's got to make sure the Porters don't fall any farther behind than they already are. Runners on first and second, 2 out.
Blazing and Serafino are their horses. And all Blazing did yesterday was throw a no-no.
So a tough spot here for Blazing. TJ Null at the plate, takes it, and he's trying to hit Dave Otto, but it's a little high, which is hard to do.
You know, that's also difficult. Blazing came in from right field, only gets 8 warm-up tosses, and it's tough to get any kind of rhythm after only throwing 8 pitches.
Steve Rowe is now playing right field for Lockport. Runners on first and second, that one right down the pipe, strike 2. Pitch. That one high. Got away from Serafini for a minute. He's not going to be able to get anybody. Both runners move up.
You know, it looks like Blazing is throwing gas, and this ball just gets away from him. Serafini does a nice attempt at it, but not too many catchers are going to make that play.
Now, I call that a wild pitch, but I imagine you being a pitcher, Dave Otto, you'll call that a pass ball. Your excuse would be the catcher got a glove on.
That's right.
That's about as wild a pitch you're going to see. That one popped straight up the chute. The shortstop, Ken Tondini, came in, but he's called off by Todd Walters, who makes the play and retires the side. So Jeff Blazing did exactly what he had to do. Kept any more damage from being done. We're through 5. Schaumburg leads at 4-1. Top of the 6th inning now, Lockport. They're starting to run out of time. They're down to their last handful of outs. Our next IHSA event on Sports Channel will be a replay of the 1997 Girls Soccer Championship that's coming up tomorrow night at 5. Sports Channel. What a great year it's been for IHSA championships. I've been lucky. I got to go to the football championship in the fall, the great A and AA basketball tournaments in the spring, and we'll finish it off here tonight with the AA baseball championship. Jeff Blazing takes a strike, falling behind 0-1 here to lead off the 6th. Blazing, Vince Serafini, and Scott Lesniak due up here for Lockport. That one low, 1-1. Mike Nall came in the last inning. Allowed 1 base runner, but no further damage. That one hammered right up the middle, takes a big hop off the mound, and Chambers almost got to that because of the hop it took off the mound. But Blazing starts off the inning with a base hit, and the Porters are in business.
Boy, Blazing is some kind of strong. This pitch is away, and he just hammers it right off the mound and almost gets it. Tim Chambers did it. What an unbelievable effort by Tim Chambers.
Brian McDonald is going to come in to pinch run for Blazing, and you would assume the reason is because you don't want your pitcher out there running the bases.
And plus, Blazing's got a bad hamstring, and he can't run out of sight in a week right now. Runs like Wilson Alvarez.
You saw that last night. Barry Larkin about almost at the wall with Dion when he threw out Wilson. Well, Wilson got good one on the ball. Can't ask for anything more than that. So McDonald pinch running for Blazing at first base. Vince Serafini is the hitter. Flew out to right in the third, walked in the fourth, and then scored. That one high, 1-0.
You know, you'd like to keep the double play in order, but again, that runner on first doesn't mean anything. Mike Nall needs to get Vince Serafini out.
Swing and a miss, 1-1. Well, with as good of a prospect as Mike Nall is, you would have to think the plan for Schaumburg is let Nall wrap this thing up. But he's allowed a runner here in the top of the 6th inning, and there's nobody out. Ground ball to third base, and that one's foul. One and two the count now.
You know, this is Mike Nall's bread and butter right here. A good changeup. He's got great arm action and really kills the ball and takes a lot off it. And especially when your arm's tired, you want to go to that pitch.
McDonald over on first. Serafini is the hitter. He's down 1-2. That one up on that outside corner. Serafini is gone, one away.
Jim, I'm a big fan of the changeup because the changeup sets up the gas right here. And Serafini doesn't have a chance on that fastball low and away.
Scott Lesniak is now the hitter. Still a runner on first, but now Mike Nall has one man down. Just a little reminder toss over to first base. Lesniak grounded out to second in the first and singled back in the fourth.
This guy can rink. I've seen him stick some balls this tournament.
That one up high. 1-0.
Yeah, Mike.
Mike Nall's got that look of a guy that knows what he's doing out there. You notice that?
Absolutely. I love his arm action.
That one hammered dead into center field. Kamaki chasing it, and he makes a spectacular running grab. Now the question is, can they double McDonald off of first? The throw is a bit errant. The answer is no, but what a great defensive play by Kamaki in center field. There's Ruhr coming over to congratulate him. He was the one who made an outstanding play earlier in the game.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's Schaumburg's forte, outfield defense. They got some guys that can go get it out there, and Kamaki just had a great jump.
And they call the runner out on a double play. We'll have to see. You know what? You know what he did? Did he turn and head for third?
He did not touch second base on the way back, Jim.
We'll get another look at it when we come back. But the end result is Lockport gone in the 6th. It's 4-1 Schaumburg.
Last play, Brian McDonald running on the pitch, thinking it's going to go over the center fielder's head, touches second base, and when you touch second base, you've got to touch it on the way back. And he missed touching second base, and hence a double play. JB, I saw a guy one time round second base, same situation, and cut straight across the infield.
So a chance for Lockport, the top of the 6th. They had their leadoff man on, nobody out. They couldn't convert it into anything. Now Mike Nall will come to the plate at the bottom of the 6th. And what Schaumburg wants to do here is they'd love to get 2 runs somehow and get up by more than 1 swing of the bat. 0-1 the count. And the Saxons starting to feel it, but it's not quite over yet. That one driven right back up the middle for a base hit. So Nall is on with a leadoff single, his first hit of the game. And Mark Bolosek will come up and hit. He struck out in the 2nd. He flew out back in the 4th. And we'll get a pinch runner for the Saxons now, as Jeff Schupa comes in to run. So same situation. The pitcher gets a leadoff hit and comes out for a pinch runner.
Gives Mike a chance to take a little bit of a blow in the dugout. Gear up for that 7th inning.
And this is a huge run if Schaumburg can get it around. Pickoff throw down to first, and they should have had him, the Porters, but the throw was a little bit into foul territory. And instead of getting a pickoff, Vince Serafini just had to make sure the baseball didn't go farther down the right field line.
Serafini did a nice job getting out of the gate. He just spiked it a little bit over to first base, but I like catchers that anticipate plays like that, because you know the runner is anticipating a bunt right there.
And what we talked about a moment ago is certainly what the coaching staff of the Porters feels. That's the big run over there on first. They need to keep that one from getting around. 0-1 the count. And that one bunted straight up in the air. One of the few times you will ever see a fielder call for a bunt. Todd Walters did. Said, I got it.
Belosek, this ball was coming right at him, and he's lucky he didn't catch one right between the eyes. And you're right, he did call for it.
So now Jeff Blazing will look in on Joshua Dryden. Schupa still over there on first. One away here in the bottom of the 6th. Pitch out. Wasn't going.
You know, Blazing throws pretty hard, and all Joshua Dryden wants to do right here is try and drive a ball between first and second, because you could drive a truck through that hole right now.
First baseman has to hold the runner on. And that one fouled straight back. 1-1 the count. There's the gap that Dave was talking about between first and second.
Boy, Tony Gwynn makes a living on that hole right there. Just gets a pitch inside, and just, you don't even have to hit it.
Dryden.
See, I don't like a changeup right here. Catcher's calling for a changeup, and that's a perfect pitch to pull in the hole.
Throw over to first. Dryden, even though he's over, did score a run. He began the big 3rd inning by reaching on an error.
In this situation, I don't like a changeup to a left-handed hitter here.
1-1. Pitch high and outside. Throw down to first, and Schupa back in time. 2-1 the count.
Boy, you got to be on your toes over first base.
There's been a lot of throws over there this inning. You're down to the key point of the game right now.
You know, you may not pick off a guy in that situation, because not too often you do, but it keeps the lead short, the secondary lead, getting out there, and that sets up the double play.
Exactly. 1-1 pitch. A defensive swing on a high strike, throw down to second, and Schupa had no chance. Schupa gunned down for the 2nd out of the inning, and now at the plate, Dryden is looking at a 1-2 count.
Did get a real good jump here. Looked like it was a hit and run. Just couldn't put the bat on the ball right there, and Schupa gets thrown out easily at second base.
What a great throw by Serafini. Ooh. The infielder has to do no work. And strike 3, and that ends the inning. So the Porters down to their final few bullets, but they kept that run from getting around. The Schaumburg Saxons lead at 4-1 going to the top of the 7th. The Lockport Porters down to their last 3 outs. Schaumburg leading 4-1 in this Class AA title game. Mike Nall still on the hill for Schaumburg, but things have changed for him since he went out to pitch last inning, because Mike Nall is now a member of the Class AA All-Tournament team.
Deservedly so.
We will pass on the rest of the names to you here in a little bit. Jeff Stanek, 1 for 2 in the game. Drove in a run with a single back in the 4th. He needs to make sure he reaches base. That pitch inside, 0-1. Also making the all-tournament team for Schaumburg, Tim Chambers, John Kamaki, Mark Belosik, and of course Nall. That pitch low, 2-0. The Lockport members on the all-tournament team: Vince Serafini, Ken Tondini, and Jeff Blazing. Two and 0 on the outside corner, 2-1. The Rock Island Rocks put 2 players in the all-tournament team: third baseman Jason Morlock and Bobby Van Horbeck, an outfielder. That pitch swung and missed. The count even at 2-2. And Mattoon had 2 players on the all-tournament team: outfielder Nathan Hamilton and the DH Curtis Bergfeldt. That's your all-tournament team for 1997. 2-2 the count. Time called. Jeff Stanek maybe facing the biggest pitch of the season for the Lockport Porters. He needs to get on base and get something moving because the Porters trail it by 3 here in the top of the 7th.
That's key to get somebody on base, and that puts Mike Nall into the stretch. And you prefer to face a pitcher when he's out of his stretch.
Todd Walters, the third baseman, is on deck.
I think in that situation, Mike Nall wanted to throw a fastball. And Blusek wanted something different, so it'll be interesting to see what he throws here.
The 2-2 pitch. Popped up into center field. John Komacki stands right underneath it. And Dave, you talked about the positioning all game long for Schaumburg. Komacki never moved a muscle.
That's just great coaching, especially with Mike Nall. He's got good gas, and they adjust the outfield and the infield accordingly. They swing everything over with the left-handed batter. They swing everything over to the left side. Now you've got a right-hander up, and you see the center fielder moving to right center field now.
Todd Walters, the hitter, hasn't gotten the ball out of the infield in this game. And fouled that one back right off of the catcher.
You know, Lockport's got a great hitting team, and this is a tribute to the Schaumburg staff to hold them to only 1 run up to this point.
Well, do you realize the only outburst we saw was in the 3rd, and that was all started by an error and a hit batsman? It's not like the pitching on either side has been hammered in this game. Took a little bit off it, swing and a miss, 1-1.
JB, there's the changeup right there. That is such a great pitch. And then also that sets up the fastball right here. The fastball ends up looking like 100 miles an hour.
And there's the heat. Driven into left field. Gleason on his horse. Isn't going to get there. The ball is going to go through to the wall. Walters needs to be careful here, and he stops at second base. Doesn't want to try and go for third. Good heads-up base running by Todd Walters. He knows his team needs base runners, not heroes.
Station to station right now, Jim. This is just a fastball up, especially coming off a changeup. Todd Walters does a great job and throws some head and drives it over the left fielder's head. Yeah, the third base coach right there said, hold your horses.
Yeah, do not come to third. Matt Serafini is the hitter, singled in the 5th. Pounded it back to the pitcher in the 3rd. 1 away, ground up the middle, and it gets through for a hit. Walters will come in to score and make it 4-2. The tying run will come to the plate for Lockport. Boy, they're going to charge an error on that play. That's an awfully tough call.
It just caught Joshua Dryden in between hops. He wasn't aggressive in getting up there and get a good hop on that, and it just skipped by him. Got a pretty decent hop, but it just stayed down on him. That's a tough error right there. But you know what, Jim? Good pitchers overcome errors like that, and Mike Nall needs to go out there right now and just pick the team up.
Paul Group comes out to talk to Mike Nall. Now, there already has been a change made in the lineup for Lockport. Eric Blazer is going to come in and hit. One down, 1 run in, 1 man on. The Porters have been behind ever since a 4-run 3rd inning by the Schaumburg Saxons. But now the tying run is at the plate in the form of Eric Blazer.
Now Lockport, ideally now Tondini is going to hit. They're going to get to Tondini in this game, and this guy can rake. Mike Nall needs to make some good pitches here.
And again, the object here for Blazer, just keep the inning going. Because the top of the order is coming up after Blazer. That one grounded towards short. This time Dryden shovels it to second, to throw first. Not in time. Blazer keeps it alive by being out of fielder's choice.
Joshua Dryden, this is great. Coming off an error like this, fields the ball perfectly, and they turn it. I'll tell you what, Blazer got down the line in a hurry right there to beat that one out.
It is now up to Greg Blazing to keep Lockport's season alive. 4-2 Schaumburg, 2 out, top of the 7th. Runner on first for Lockport. Blazing reached on a fielder's choice in the 5th. Popped out to second in the 3rd, struck out in the 1st. The Schaumburg fans on their feet. They're 1 out away from the state title. Fouled off, 0-1.
Well, I like that out of Lockport. They're going up there hacking.
Eric Blazer on first. That one fouled down the 3rd base line. 1 strike left for the Lockport Porters.
Well, do you waste a pitch here and then come back with a changeup? Or he may go right to the changeup right here, throwing in the dirt. He's got a good one.
The 0-2 on the outside corner, just missed.
He's trying to dial it up. That pitch had some hair on it.
Guys in the dugout thought it was a strike. Oops.
Not yet.
And Mike Nall decides, I think I'll tie my shoe. I'm one strike away from the state title. My shoe's untied. So 1-2. Runner on first. 4-2 Schaumburg. Hit to left field and hit hard. Kevin Gleason goes back. It's off the scoreboard. We're tied at 4-4.
Unbelievable, Jake.
How clutch is that? Dave, that's just an example of the pitcher going with his best, and he just gets beat.
Power on power. Mike Nall wanted to throw it by Greg Blazing right there. Blazing got a fastball up and absolutely hammered it off the left field scoreboard.
There's the Schaumburg dugout. They were 1 strike away from a state title, and now it's tied at 4-4. Ken Tondini is the hitter for Lockport. Down the 3rd base line. Will it roll foul? No. Dave, we talked in the top of the 7th or the bottom of the 6th about how big one more run would be for Schaumburg.
Oh my, you're exactly right. 1 swing of the bat, and we got a tie ball game. That is a great piece of bunting right there by Tondini. Mike Nall needs to keep his composure right here, especially after giving up a bomb, a 2-run bomb. And this is where the pitching staffs become even more critical, Jim, because you've got some guys with some tired arms.
Jeff Blazing is the hitter. His brother right now is the hero. But there can be 2 heroes in the Blazing house. If Jeff can get an extra base hit here, he fouls it back.
Again, I like Lockport's approach. They're going up there hacking on the first pitch. Anytime when you were behind like Lockport was, they did not lose their aggressiveness and they kept swinging the bats.
Can you go up there assuming that Nall's going to throw you a first ball fastball every time?
You know what? He's got a great changeup, and he was so pumped up that. Sometimes you don't want to throw a changeup, but that's his bread and butter pitch.
On the outside corner, 0-2.
I mean, he's got good gas, but at the same time, his arm's a little tired, and you want to go to a changeup.
Runner on first, 2 out. Game tied at 4. We're in the top of the 7th inning. Check over to first, and the runner back in plenty of time. And time called before the pitch was delivered.
JB, I don't think anyone is sitting down here.
That was simply amazing. And the way Rosenblatt Stadium used to be set up in Omaha for the College World Series, one of the homers I remember is by a guy named Greg Elena of Miami back about 1985, and he hit the scoreboard with his name on it. And they have the same type of setup here at Elfstrom Stadium. And it reminds me almost exactly that. Grounded towards second base. Chambers mishandled it for a moment, but recovered and gets his man at first base. So the Schaumburg Saxons see their lead slip away in the top of the 7th, but they have 3 outs in the bottom half of the inning in which to reclaim a state title that they were 1 strike away from just a moment ago.
And we are all tied up here at Elfstrom Stadium. Lockport 4, Schaumburg 4, and in case you missed it, in the 7th inning with 2 outs in the top of the 7th, Greg Blazing drives the ball out of the park for a 2-run home run, and we have got a brand new ball game, Jim.
The disappointment in the Schaumburg dugout because they know they were so close. And it's weird how this game has paralleled itself at times. It was down to the last man in the order for Lockport to keep an inning alive, or really to get an inning started. And the pinch hitter in that inning, Eric Blazer, did. Now Kevin Gleason, the 9th man in the Schaumburg order, leading off the bottom of the 7th inning. Up high, 1-1. Same deal. You're the leadoff man. You just have to figure out a way of getting on first base.
Find a way. Gleason has an extremely small strike zone here.
Up high, 2-1.
And this is just a gut check for both pitchers. I mean, Jeff Blazing and Mike Nall both throwing no-nos yesterday. Their arms have got to be hanging, and yet they're out there just battling.
2-1 the count. 3-1 the count. We've seen some unbelievable IHSA championship action this year on Sports Channel. The homer to tie just a moment ago, similar somewhat to the 3-pointer the kids from Warsaw got in the Class A basketball game to send that one to overtime. Strike, 3-2.
There are a bunch of gamers out there right now. You could see it in their eyes.
Well, this is where you find out who the competitors are. Not the players, the competitors. There's a big difference. Base on balls. Gleason's on to start the 7th. Now we go back to the top of the order. Tim Chambers will lead off. He's 1 for 2. He singled in the 1st. He walked in the 3rd, came around and scored. He lined out to second base back in the 5th.
Jim, earlier in the game in the 3rd inning, similar type of situations. Tim Chambers was batting with men on 1st and 2nd, and Paul Groot decided not to bunt him. I'm guessing right here that he's going to lay one down.
Well, the Lockport defense certainly thinks so. High, he got it down. Blazing went down. His only play is to 1st, and he makes it. And what's happening here is that it's cooling off dramatically as the sun has set, and so the dew is starting to form in the grass, and I think that's the reason why you saw Blazing go down.
Boy, Blazing made a nice recovery. Again, he's got a bad hamstring, bounced off the mound and makes a nice play. And what a great job by Tim Chambers, getting his hands extended and laying down a perfect bunt.
John Komacki now the hitter with 1 out, runner on 2nd. Game tied at 4. A base hit would likely give Schaumburg a state title. Fouled off, 0-1.
Kamaki goes the other way extremely well. Look for Blazing to try and get in his kitchen right here. And you got everybody shifted over to the left side.
Gleason on second base. And Blazing will step off.
I don't know if Paul Groot will put Gleason in motion, especially with a left-handed hitter. The catchers, it's so easy to come out of the chute and throw a strike down to third base with the left-handed hitter.
Gleason staying put. Kamaki swung at a high pitch. 0-2.
That was a defensive swing by Kamaki.
Blazing will come home with it high. 1-2. Blazing working out of the stretch. The Saxons just need one run to win a state title. High strike. Kamaki is gone.
Well, that was an outstanding pitch. Worked Kamaki away, and then he went inside and just froze him. That's a good piece of pitching right there. Kamaki just completely buckled. That fastball started at him and broke out over the plate.
Paul Ruhr, the scheduled hitter, has been intentionally walked. He put the force play in effect all over the infield. So that means Brian Wojnarowski will have the chance to be a hero.
Interesting move by Jim Hall. Wojnarowski is one of the best hitters on Schaumburg's team. Senior and a gamer and left-handed hitter. Walked the right-handed hitter to get to the lefty.
And now the wheel's spinning all over the place.
Team meeting.
Jim Hall goes out to talk to his infield.
Well, Jim, both of these teams are so well coached. Jim Hall and Paul Groot, they do a wonderful job. They have wonderful programs, and they start with kids early on, and they let them play Summer League. And Paul Groot is active in the Schaumburg area as far as Little League and gets the kids playing at an early age.
Wojnarowski is going to be the hitter. He's one of the senior tri-captains for the Schaumburg Saxons. And this is one of those things you do in the backyard. You're in the championship game. Most guys say it's in the World Series, but I think for Wojnarowski this will do. Game tied at 4, 2 outs, runner on second. It's your senior year. You're in the state championship game. You can deliver your team to a state title with a base hit. That one a little high, 1-0. Showed some pretty good nerves there. Oh, I'd be hacking. Of course, Jeff Blazing a chance to be a hero as well. He can get his team at least one more at bat. Play to second base, and the ball was never thrown. It was the phantom throw. Well, you talk about your College World Series plays, Miami and Wichita State one year.
JB, they did that earlier in the day. Similar type of situation. This is a great play. I have never seen this. Pitcher faking the throw to second base.
What did he do with the ball?
Fake.
He never took it out of his glove is what he did.
No, Blazing had it in his hand, and he faked the throw. Oh, my.
Well, we're seeing a little bit of everything here. 1-0. Right down Main Street. 1-1. The best part of that whole play was the acting by Blazing, acting like the ball had gone into center field. Fought off and into the hands of the shortstop, Ken Tondini. We will go to extra innings. Well, the way these two teams have played, why not? It's been an outstanding game so far. We'll play a little extra to crown a champ in 1997. We're going to show you a pretty good piece of base running. Watch the fake. Now, where's the ball at, Dave?
It's in his hand.
Are you sure? See, now he's mad. It's in the center field.
You're right.
Whoops.
You're right. It wasn't in his hand. And the middle infielders did a great job of selling that. I would have been rounded third. Oh, my.
Oh, the only time I ever saw that play work was in a College World Series game. It was over at first Wichita State against Miami. Phil Stevenson was the first baseman. But what made the play work in that case was the Wichita State dugout was over on the first base side. So when they faked the throw, all the guys in the dugout started pointing, and the Miami runner takes off, and then all of a sudden, look what I've got.
What a great sell job.
So now Lockport, their chance to hit in the top of the 7th inning. Vince Serafini will lead off. He swings and misses, 0-1.
You know, Lockport pulled a similar stunt in the game today, and I think Paul Groot and the Schaumburg Saxons were ready for it.
Looked like he might have gotten a piece of it. In any event, it's 0-2.
If he did, it's a line drive back to the catcher.
Mike Nall working a lot longer than he thought he was going to have to. High, 1-2. The Saxons were 1 strike away. And the big hero in the game is Greg Blazin, the left fielder. A 2-run homer to tie it in the top of the 7th inning. That one's low, 2-2. Serafini gone swinging. 1 away.
Boy, Mike Nall is pitching on all heart right here. Just buries a pitch low and away. Serafini had a good hack at it, but just missed it.
And that pitch set up by all the pitchers in this game working well in the outside corner. The hitters have had to go after that one. Scott Lesniak, the center fielder, takes a pitch inside. Lesniak grounded out to second in the 2nd inning, singled in the 4th, flew out to center field in the 6th. And that pitch low. You saw the note that he hit into a double play in the 6th. That was because the pinch runner, Brian McDonald, did not retouch second base after making the turn. So Lesniak did indeed hit into a double play, even though it only should have been a flyout. Grounded to short. The throw to first in time. A spectacular throw across the infield by Joshua Dryden. And considering he made an error that really somewhat opened the door in the top of the 7th, he's showing some ability to shrug off a mistake and make some big plays.
Well, Josh Dryden goes in the hole and plants and fires a seed over to first base. And what a great stretch by Mike Wheel to get him in time.
Jeff Stanek, the DH, standing in with 2 outs. High and outside, 1-0.
John Lowenstein said one time that they ought to move first base back a little bit to eliminate all the close plays.
Andy Van Slyke said that too. Did he rip it off from John Lowenstein?
I'm sure.
That pitch low, 2-0. Stanek 1 for 3 in the game. Here's the 2-0. Low strike, 2-1.
Boy, his arm has got to be held together by a Band-Aid right now.
2-1. And that one ripped into center field for a base hit. Stanek makes the turn at first, but will advance no farther. So with 2 outs, Lockport trying to get something going. They're going to need one more hero. Could it be Todd Walters? He will be the one to try and bring Stanek around. You look at Walters. He doubled that started the inning in the 7th that ended up tying the game. Later scored, grounded out in the fourth, grounded out in the second. Game tied at 4. Throw over to first just to make sure everybody knows that they're keeping an eye on you.
You may have some action over there.
Well, why not? A lot easier to get a guy in from second base than it is at first. Pitch up high, 1-0.
Especially if Mike Null falls behind right here, because then you fall behind and then you can't throw a pitch out. That's why it's so key to get ahead here, and then you can throw a pitch out. But you don't want to throw a pitch out here, 1-0.
And that one popped up high. It's on the infield. First baseman Mike Reel calls for it. Couldn't fight it off. And what that in effect does is give Lockport an extra out. And sometimes that really comes back to haunt you.
You know, this is a tough adjustment for some of these guys playing in these lights.
In good lights.
These, exactly, bright lights, and I think just for a second he loses it, and he can't recover.
Now this is the 4th inning that Nall has pitched, so you have to wonder if maybe this is going to be it for him. His brother TJ Nall is warming up at the moment in the bullpen for Schaumburg. That one hammered into left center field. Gleason going back, but this time to have a beat on it, and that retires the side. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. We're tied at 4 in the Double-A title game. Going to the bottom of the 8th inning. Tied up at 4-4 in the Double-A title game. Jeff Blazing will continue to work on the hill. His brother is the hero right now for Lockport. A 2-run homer in the top of the 7th inning that tied the game.
Boy, TJ Null has been bouncing around. DHing, warming up every inning down the left field line.
Takes the first pitch, and that is not quite to Dave Otto. TJ Null grounded out to second, back in the second, lined out to center in the 3rd, and popped it out to 3rd in the 5th inning. So he's due. Blazing just with a big overhand on that one. Wow. Strike 1. Check that, strike 2.
Good hook.
And came up a little high, 1-2. TJ will be followed to the plate by his brother Mike. And just had TJ Null all crossed up. Strikeout to start out the bottom of the 8th inning.
Jeff Blazing gets his arm out here and just blows gas upstairs. TJ Null should have laid off that pitch, but again, that pitch up there looks so good to hit. Looks like a beach ball.
Mike Null singled back in the 6th. It's his only hit of the game. That one up just a hair high, 1-0.
Boy, Blazing has been outstanding. About 6'3", big long arms, and anytime you're a little bit hanging like he's got to be, you really have to fight to get your arm out there, and he's doing a great job.
And that one right down the pipe and fouled off down the first base line. 1-1. Both dugouts, the players on the top step. No one sitting down in this one. Swing and a miss. 1-2. You look at the Lockport quarters.
Boy, Jeff Blazing's got a great motion here. Stays back on this curveball. straight over the top. He's got good stuff.
Setting up outside. Here's the pitch, that one high. 2-2.
Blazing looks like one of those guys that works effectively up in the zone. He's got good enough stuff to make the ball rise a little bit up in the zone.
And that one fouled back. So Mike Nall stays alive.
Tell you what, if you work up there, though, you've got to have some juice.
The umpire coming over and talking to one of the fans on the Schaumburg side. And it's, well, you know, and now people over there high-fiving the kids. I don't understand that.
Boy, and you know what? The umpires have done a great job tonight.
And that one up high.
When you don't notice the umpires, that's when they've done a great job.
Well, I'll tell you what they've done. And Chuck Graber working behind the plate, he established what the strike zone was going to be early, and he has stuck with it. And at times the fans here haven't liked the calls, but you know what? He's been consistent, and he's called the pitches the same way throughout the game. And if you're a player, that's what you ask for. Strike three. 2 gone. Second strikeout of the inning for Jeff Blazing. It's his 4th since coming in the 5th.
Blazing is working the outer half. Mike Nall looking for something in. His hips are gone right there. And he's got no chance to reach that outside corner.
That was painted.
Van Gogh.
The only thing is Jeff Blazing, from what I can see, has both ears. So that brings up Mark Bolosic, who is 0 for 3 in this game, but has been voted the MVP of this tournament. Swings at a high fastball.
Mr. Bolosic was trying to end it right there. Trying to lift and separate.
Tell you what, why not? 2 out.
Oh, air it out.
You got the big stick. That one catches the outside corner, 0-2. But just in case you're wondering, Bolosic has 5 homers on the year. 0-2 pitch, strike 3. Jeff Blazing strikes out the side. We will go to the top of the 9th inning. Still tied at 4. We are going to the top of the 9th inning in the AA title game. And the Schaumburg Saxons have changed pitchers. T.J. Nall is in for his brother Mike. Just a sophomore, Dave.
Yeah, this might be. Is this safe to say that this is the biggest game of his career up to this point? What a wonderful job by Mike Nall. Just pitched on pure guts and went out there and threw the ball extremely well. And T.J. Nall has got to be ready. He has been warming up every inning down the left field line.
The line on Mike Nall, pitched 4 innings, gave up 6 hits, gave up 3 runs, but the big one was the homer by Greg Blazing that tied the game in the top of the 7th. So now TJ is going to try and bail out his older brother.
Paul Groot, before the game, was tossing around the idea of throwing TJ, starting him in this ball game. So TJ Nall is pretty mentally prepared to enter this game at this situation.
Well, we are now getting down to what I like to call the NIWAT effect in a high school baseball tournament. My junior year of high school, our high school baseball team, NIWAT High School in Colorado, went to the state baseball tournament. We had 3 pitchers. And our first game, we hammered a former teammate of yours, Daryl Ackerfels.
That's right.
In the quarterfinals to advance. And we won our second game, and we get down to the championship game, and basically our coach went to, we only had 3 pitchers. Our coach went to each pitcher who had his arm in a bucket of ice and said, you just got to give me 2. Give me 2 innings. But the problem in that game, the opposing pitcher was Brian Fisher.
Ooh.
We finished second.
He was nasty.
Matt Serafini to lead off. Boy, and he was dominant in high school baseball. There's nobody could touch him. 1-0 the count. Serafini 1 for 3. Reached on an error back in the 7th. 1-1 the count. Did TJ run that hat over with the mower? What's the deal there? 2-1. Dave, as the fashion plate you are, please comment on this style of guys wearing their baseball hats now with that big curve in them.
JB, it's superstition. If you get some people out with your hat like that.
And that one in the dirt. They go down to first, and Serafini didn't go.
Boy, TJ 1-1 threw a nasty hook, and that time threw it again, lower and slower. Well, that's a good-looking breaking ball, especially for a sophomore.
Well, it's as good as the hat is bad. 2-2 the count. Outside corner. Ring him up, one gone.
You know, you throw a couple breaking balls, and that just sets up a good fastball, low and away, outstanding pitch.
Dave Simmons will come to the plate. Struck out in the third, fouled out on a spectacular catch by Paul Ruhr back in the fifth, reached on a fielder's choice, and he scored on the home run by Greg Blazing in the top of the seventh. Right down the heart of the plate. 0-1 the count.
That is a good live fastball.
Well, TJ's not showing any nerves so far. Oh, man. Big curveball, 0-2.
Paul Groot calling the pitches.
And that one way outside, 1-2. So now what does that set up, Dave?
That doesn't set up anything. You know what?
I thought you were going to cover for the pitcher again.
No, you really want to, on 0-2, try and get up and in, and then that establishes the outside corner.
This time now comes inside, got his man, but a dropped strike. And Belosa goes down to first base to retire his man. Now combined, we have now seen 5 strikeouts in a row. The 2 here by TJ Nall, and the 3 in the previous inning run up by Jeff Blazing. So oddly enough, as we go on longer in this game, the pitchers, who are in a limited quantity now, are dominating the action. And here's Greg Blazing. He's getting a standing ovation, as he should, from the fans on the Lockport side of the field.
Boy, you really got to hit it to get out of this place. And he stuck the scoreboard.
Ooh, buckling the knees there is TJ Nall. So Blazing says, all right, I've seen it now.
We're going in.
1-0.
Nope.
And that one outside. Belosa tried to frame it, but didn't get the call. 2-0. Boy, it's amazing how you hit one home run and all of a sudden you don't get anything to hit. That one outside, 3-0.
Blazing's feeling pretty good, and as a pitcher,
yeah,
you do not want to give him anything in his wheelhouse right here.
And that one just catches the outside corner, 3-1. And I don't care how many home runs you hit, you're taking on that pitch.
Absolutely.
Once again, the object is base runners, not heroes. Although Greg Blazing certainly qualifies on the ladder. And that one, the curveball, the inside corner. Full count.
Mr. Blazing was not looking at breaking ball right there. Great piece of pitching. And if you can throw it 3-1, JB, you can throw it 3-2.
Boy, did Rick Sutcliffe make a living off of this in 1984 or what?
Just pitching backwards. Wow.
6 strikeouts in a row now that we've seen between the two teams in this game. We'll move on to the bottom of the ninth. TJ Nall strikes out the side. Well, the bottom of the 9th inning. So these guys are going to play a major league length game tonight.
That's right. Boy, where were these stadiums when I was in A-ball? This is a great place to play for A-ball.
It's probably better than most of the AAA facilities when you were playing.
Definitely.
Josh Dryden leading off the inning for Schaumburg. It will be Dryden, then Gleason, and then back to the top of the order with Tim Chambers. Dryden reached on an error back in the 3rd and scored a run. Fought that one off, 1-1.
I know it's tough to do, but if Schaumburg wants to get to Jeff Blazing, they've got to lay off that high pitch and make him bring the ball into the zone. Again, Jeff Blazing is throwing gas upstairs, and it's tough to lay off.
Dryden inside. Now, don't be deceived by the hop. That thing was right on the inside corner of the plate. Watch this.
Just trying to sell the call right there. But again, Blazing looks like he's throwing a two-seamer, and it starts off at a left-hander's hip, and it tails back out over the plate.
1-2. And that one just misses the outside corner. 2-2.
The backdoor Johnson right there.
And that one fouled off down the 3rd base line.
I know they're on adrenaline, but these guys have got to be tired. Schaumburg coming out at 9 in the morning today to play their semifinal game, and Lockport following that.
And again, oh wow, look out in the dugout. That thing was a laser and scattered everybody.
Ugly finder. They used to always get hit in the dugout.
Let me ask you a question. What were you doing in the dugout?
Once in a while, I'd have to sit in the dugout.
Shouldn't you have either been in the bullpen or the clubhouse? You're in the wrong spot.
Oh, I get hit all the time.
2-2 the count. Nobody out. Dryden, the leadoff hitter here in the bottom of the 9th. High and outside. The count goes full. Blazing has struck out 3 hitters in a row. Ground ball to second base. Simmons came up with it and retires Dryden. 1 away.
JB, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That pitch is so inviting up there. And it may have been a ball, but again, you got to be aggressive. 3-2. And Joshua Dryden swung the bat there.
Kevin Gleason hit by a pitch back in the 3rd, came around and scored a run. He singled in the 4th. He walked in the 7th. Swings through that one. 0-1. He's had a pretty good game for 1-for-1.
I say.
Tell you what, though, these outfielders haven't been very busy in this game, have they?
No, they haven't.
Blazing catches that high outside corner. Strike 2. Inside. Blazing wanted it, didn't get it. 1-2.
Boy, he humped up right there on that pitch. He let it all hang out.
Schaumburg led at one time in this game 4-1. 3 runs in the top of the 7th, 2 of them coming on a home run by Greg Blazing, the top of the 7th. Got us to where we are right now. Tied at 4-4, 1 out, bottom of the 9th. A 1-2 count to Kevin Gleason. Tim Chambers, the top of the order, waits on deck. That one fouled down the first base line.
Well, Kevin Gleason is going up there hacking.
The 1-2. 4th strikeout in the last 5 batters for Jeff Blazing. 2 gone.
When you have as good a fastball as Jeff Blazing does, when you face the bottom of the order, you want to challenge him. And right there, a pitch up in the zone. It's been getting a lot of guys out up there. and just throws it right by Kevin Gleason.
At the plate now for the Schaumburg Saxons, their leading home run hitter, Tim Chambers, with 7 on the year. He's down 0-1. Do you just wait for your dead red chance and try and jack it? There's a nasty curveball in there again, 0-2.
That just locked him up right there. Straight over the top.
Now a lot of directions that Blazing can go. Decided to put it up in Chambers' eyes, 1-2. Hitting a lull here, Dave. Pitcher's really taking over here. And that one high, 2. 2-2 the count.
Jeff Blazing does a nice job of climbing the ladder. If they swing at a pitch stomach high or whatever, then throw another pitch chest high and keep working up the ladder.
Chambers works it to a full count. Well, you got the home run hitter at the plate. He's got a full count to work with. You got a pitcher who you would think has to come with a fastball, but has shown the ability to throw a nasty curve.
I'm saying dead red right here.
Outside. Chambers gets a base on balls with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning. John Komacki will come to the plate. He has struck out his last 2 times. He's been to the dish, but he had a 2 RBI double back in the 3rd.
Komacki does a nice job on high pitches, and he'll probably see a couple here from Jeff Blazing, but he does a good job of getting on top of the ball and driving it to left field.
Komacki pounds it up the middle. Nice scoop at second base, and the ball got away from the first baseman, Vince Serafini. Everybody's safe, and on the play, Chambers advances to 3rd. Boy, what a tough play and a tough decision for Dave Simmons. He came up and got the ball just in front of second base. He was a little too far in front of the bag to step back and get the force. He goes over to first, and the throw was a little bit up the line on Serafini.
Serafini made a nice job of knocking it down a little bit, because that could have really turned into a problem if Tim Chambers comes all the way around to score there.
2 out, runners on 1st and 3rd for the Saxons. Paul Ruhr is at the plate. He's 2 for 3. He was intentionally walked back in the 7th.
Do you do it again here, Jim?
You know, the last time they walked Ruhr, Wojnarowski came up next and he popped out to the shortstop.
Jim, I don't like walking him in this situation. Pitcher, you don't want to pitch with the bases loaded, because that you want to throw strikes. And with the bases loaded, there's always that chance of walking somebody. In this case, I would go at Ruhr and pitch around him, make good pitches, and if you walk him, you walk him.
Ruhr came into this game hitting .407. Wojnarowski came into the game hitting .387, so there's really not a whole heck of a lot of difference.
You know, this is a case here where Jim Hall is just making a trip out there and finding out what how Jeff Blazing feels and whether he thinks he can get Paul Ruhr right here.
I would imagine a lot of what Hall is doing is looking into the eyes of Blazing and seeing what the eyes reveal. Does he really believe he can get Ruhr? If he does, you pitch to him. You know, and the thing is here is, what you've got to decide as a coach is, how much do you put the game in the hands of the guys playing the game? And let these guys decide it and see what their ability is.
They're going after him.
Outside. It reminds me somewhat of Joe Bungie of Naperville Central in the state championship 6A football game 2 years ago. Went for a 2-point conversion, down by 1 with just a few seconds left. His reason? These guys deserved a chance to win the game, rather than doing the safe thing and kicking the extra point and going to overtime.
Right.
He let his guys decide it. Inside, 2-0.
I think they're going to put him on here, Jim.
Yeah, down 2-0. They're not going to pitch to him anymore. So that intentional walk to Paul Ruhr will load the bases. And it all comes down to this. Can Jeff Blazing retire Brian Wojnarowski? Well, this is the one you do imagine as a kid. Bottom of the 9th inning, game tied, 2 out, bases loaded.
That's the beauty of the game. Wojnarowski in the 7th inning, similar situation, popped up to shortstop, and now he's got a second chance.
Game tied at 4, 2 outs, bottom of the 9th, and it's a base hit to left field. Wojnarowski's the hero. Chambers scores. The Schaumburg Saxons win the state AA baseball title by beating Lockport 5-4.
JB, it doesn't happen too often that you get a second chance, and Brian Wojnarowski, what a great job right there, drives the pitch into left field. These two teams have battled here. Wojnarowski gets on top of this ball and just hammers it to left field, and he knows it.
And the topic of discussion was whether or not Tim Chambers actually touched home plate. Jim Hall came out of the dugout to talk to the umpire, and I have a feeling that's what it was about. We'll get a look at Chambers coming across the plate in a second, and we'll show you what we mean. The Schaumburg Saxons win a state title. And they do it in exciting fashion. A lot of heroes in this game, but there's only one champion, and the champions come from Schaumburg. Schaumburg wins the state title 5-4 over Lockport. For the trophy presentations, let's go to the PA announcer, Kevin Gannon. I can't help it. That looks like Dave Otto trying to hit. All kidding aside, they're getting ready for the trophy presentation down on the field.
Ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the awards area on the infield for the presentation of the first and second place team individual awards for the 1997 Class AA Boys Baseball State Final Tournament. Presenting the awards to the medallion winners and team trophies will be Downers Grove South Principal Craig Zeck, a member of the IHSA Board of Directors, and Geneva Principal Craig Collins, and Assistant Tournament Manager Tom Rogers of Geneva High School. At this time, please meet the porters of Lockport.
The Evil Justin,
Who finished the 1997 season in second place with a final record of 36 wins and 6 losses. Please meet Principal Bob Meter. Athletic Director Kent Irvin. Head Coach Jim Hall. Assistant Coach Ken Dobson. Assistant Coach Butch Markells. And the players, Mike Serafini, Justin Ford, Chris Kopiva. Steve Rowe. Brian McDonald. Brian Murphy. Scott Lesniak. Sam Shaw. Tom Miller. Ken Tondini. Kevin Meisenbach. Eric Blazer. Greg Blazing. Pete Domenico. Jeff Stanek. Todd Walters. Dave Simmons. Jeff Blazing. Matt Serafini. Jim Staniswski. Vince Serafini. Charlie Jacobson. Ryan Hall. And bat boy Dave Ruby. Lockport fans, celebration parade begins at 1 p.m. tomorrow at Richard School and will end at the Central Campus at 3, with a pep rally for the baseball and softball teams to follow.
By Lockport finishing second here in the AA baseball tournament, it finishes off what was really quite a run by the schools out in that area of Illinois. Lockport finishing second in baseball. Lincoln Way finished second in 6A football. Joliet Catholic was second in 5A football. Providence won another state 4A title. So they've got some athletes in that part of the state, Dave.
Oh, you know what? Lockport has got a great baseball program. And, boy, our hats off to both clubs. This was just an outstanding game. And for Schaumburg to battle back like they did after giving up a 2-run home run and then come back and score one in the ninth inning. Yeah, one in the ninth inning. What a great job.
The story here, too, was pitching. We talked about it in the open about how both of these teams were a little bit different than a lot of high school teams you see. Generally, you see a high school team, they've got one great pitcher, a second pretty good one, and then after that it gets a little shaky. But both of these teams were so deep in pitching. That's one of the reasons why they were able to get to this championship game, and one of the reasons why, until tonight, neither team had been scored on here in Geneva.
These guys are extremely deep in pitching. And then to go out there and see a Jeff Blazing and a Mike Null coming back, pitching yesterday and coming back and throwing the ball as well as they did here. And also Mark Belusek. Just an outstanding job. And yeah, you're right, JB. To get this far, you've got to have deep pitching.
And remember, Schaumburg was just one strike away at the top of the 7th inning from going home with the state title. They had to wait a little longer. But one of the things that is always admirable in athletes, and Greg Blazing showed it tonight, and that is that you don't give up until it's absolutely done, that you stay locked in. You concentrate, you try your best because you just don't know what's going to happen.
And both teams just played their hearts out tonight. And just what a wonderful showing, and it is great for the IHSA to see two clubs like this come out there and play.
And in the process, we saw a little bit of everything. We saw a heroic homer. We saw pitchers dominate. We even saw the hidden ball tricks.
I'm going to use that if I'm ever a coach. I'll tell you what. Jim Hall does a great job running bunt plays, defense, and Paul Groot, same thing over on that side. Paul Groot and Tom Mueller do an unbelievable job of positioning their players. I mean, this is really an art form, and they do a great job. They get pitching charts, hitting charts, scouting reports, and they do a very thorough job.
Antoine McDaniel. Tony Villathane.
Some of these guys here, Jim, this
John
may be the last time they
Komacki.
put on the uni. And what a way to end it.
Mark Belasek.
MVP.
Kevin Trow.
Well, what a way to go out as a
Steve
senior.
Schrant.
Oh, my.
Win a state title.
Manager Andy Quinn.
A couple players are going to go on and play. Mike Knoll is going to UIC.
And statistician.
And also the game winner,
Nikki
Wojnarowski, he's
Zolitar.
also going to walk on at UIC. And then on the other side, Jeff Blazing is going to go to the University of Nebraska. That's a great program.
Will Coach Jim Hall and the captains of Lockport High School please step forward to receive their second
it's
place
tough to
trophy.
accept that second place trophy, but considering that there's only one team standing across the field from you at this point, you have to say, wow, we did pretty good. It usually takes a while, though, but finishing second in the state is one of those accomplishments that you have to kind of get over, not finishing
Will
first.
Coach Paul Groot
You get together for the reunions, you look at that trophy, and it sure looks a lot better later on.
Absolutely.
The Saxons claim the final state championship trophy of the academic year by winning the AA baseball tournament. Dave Otto and I will be back to wrap it up right after this timeout. Our Pepsi play of the game. Where else are you going to go? Bottom of the ninth inning, 2 outs. Brian Wojnarowski at the plate. Goes the opposite way. Serves it out into left center field. That brought in the game-winning run scored by Tim Chambers. And the Schaumburg Saxons win the Class AA state title in a 5-4 win over the Lockport Porters. And we talked about guys, Dave, standing in their backyard, playing games with friends. You're at the bottom of the ninth inning. There's 2 outs. You have a chance to be a hero. But Brian Wojnarowski doesn't have to make it up anymore because he's done it.
And Brian Wojnarowski got a second chance in the 7th inning. Similar type of situation. Popped up to the shortstop. And there's not too often that you get a second chance in this game. And he took the second chance and ran with it. Great job.
And consider this. T.J. Nall becomes the winning pitcher in the game, and he's just a sophomore.
You know what, JB? TJ, no, that was a gutsy effort for a sophomore to come into a game like that. That's pretty heady. And he came out there and threw strikes, and considering that he threw about a ball game down the left field line before that, but a great job.
Our next IHSA event here on Sports Channel will be a replay of the 1997 IHSA Girls Soccer Championship. That's coming up tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Our game tonight was produced and directed by Dave Turner. Our associate producer and social director is Matt Luke. The production manager at Sports Channel is Tim Sutton. Our vice president of programming is Rex Lardner. Remote facilities were provided by Trio Video of Chicago. Once again, the AA champions are the Schaumburg Saxons. They win at 5-4 over Lockport. For Dave Otto, I'm Jim Blaney. The proceeding has been a co-production of Sports Channel and Intersport Television.